Tension was high at UC San Diego this morning as police in riot gear began removing encampments. Some people refused to leave. The university says 64 protesters were arrested, 40 of them students. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the 10 o'clock news. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. We have team coverage of the situation at UC San Diego tonight. Richard Allen is downtown where students arrested were taken to jail. But we begin with Esmeralda Perez, who is on campus right now. Esmeralda?
Carlo, Marcella, it's a lot calmer. I mean, just take a look behind me. That lawn right there is cleared from encampments. Now, I do want to mention that if you are a student or work on campus, that it's a lot harder to get around. All the campus entrances have been blocked off as a safety precaution. Tensions arose early this morning when law enforcement removed Gaza solidarity encampments from UCSD, which started last week. The protesters here and at other UC schools have been calling for divestment from corporations profiting from the war in Israel and Palestine. In a statement, the university chancellor said that they do allow peaceful protests, but this encampment violated campus policy. Our cameras captured the moment protesters were handcuffed or zip-tied.
We have our First Amendment right to freedom. Let's tell them, let them go.
64 people were arrested, 40 of them confirmed to be students at UCSD. They all have been placed on immediate interim suspension. The university chancellor says wooden stakes, propane tanks, and a sword were some of the items found in these encampments. Tonight I spoke with Jacob Rendler, who is a Jewish student here at UCSD.
There are groups on campus that have been calling for the genocide against Jews in a grotesque, vile, and anti-Semitic way.
Groups of people held up signs and chanted throughout campus to get their message across.
And I will continue to fight for my people, and I will continue to stand for my people in Palestine until my last breath.
Israeli supporters at UCSD say they just want to feel safe on campus.
We want to be safe as Jewish and Israeli students on campus, to walk freely without the fear of seeing signs plastered all over.
And for students here, classes were all held remote, although tonight I have seen quite a bit of students walking by, some studying, some riding scooters. Marcella.
Esmeralda, do we know when students will be returning to campus? I know you see some there, but for class and whatnot.
Yes, now the university did announce around 6 o'clock this evening that starting tomorrow at 6 a.m., classes will resume as normal. Operations here on campus will go back as usual. Now, I do want to mention that it's still unclear whether or not the MTS trolley service will go back to normal. Like earlier today, trains bypassed the central campus trolley station and the Gilman Transit Center. They were both closed off today, so we still don't have that information. But of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on the on CBS8.com. Back to you.
Much quieter situation out there tonight than previous nights. Esmeralda Perez, thank you, Esmeralda. Those taken into custody have been released tonight after being booked into jail.
CBS 8's Richard Allen joins us live from the Central Jail downtown right now, where all of the men were processed. Richard has the very latest. Richard?
Well, that's right. Earlier today, a couple hundred of their supporters of those students and others arrested, gathered here outside Central Jail, demanding their immediate release, saying that they were only exercising their freedom of speech peacefully. And we were there when some of them were released to cheers and applause.
One by one, UC San Diego students and their supporters who were arrested this morning are released this evening. And while most did not want to talk, with some protesters attempting to block our cameras with umbrellas and cardboard,
Unless you're media trained, do not talk.
one arrestee did.
We made it.
Please do not talk.
Was it worth it?
Do not talk to the media. That is, do not talk to the media.
That's my short statement. See ya.
Focus back.
In all, 64 people were arrested today, 40 of whom were students or affiliated with UC San Diego. 24 were described as unaffiliated or their status is unknown at this time.
The guys are heroes.
In a statement, the administration said the arrests were made after protesters were ordered multiple times by law enforcement to disperse, leading to at times tense confrontations. Adding, quote, UC San Diego encourages and allows peaceful protests, but this encampment violated campus policy and the law and grew to pose an unacceptable risk to the safety of the campus community.
Shame!
This is not acceptable.
Supporters of the protesters who gathered outside the central jail downtown railed against the arrests.
We are here to demand the immediate release of all students because none of them did anything wrong.
One student organizer reiterated the demonstrators' demands, including amnesty for all protesters.
We have every single right to protest, and the brutality that we were met with today was unprecedented.
As faculty, we are calling on the chancellor to release these students immediately, to not level any charges.
But these student protesters who've been arrested are facing charges, according to attorney Brian Watkins.
When it crosses the line, you start breaking laws and there's damage to property and you're not obeying lawful commands, then the university has a duty to its other students, the students that paid tuition, that want to go to class. A university is for me to go to school, not for you to voice your opinion. You can voice your opinion on a college campus, but not when it inhibits me going to school.
And tonight, UC San Diego says that its decision to clear the encampment earlier this morning was made in light of the, quote, significant dangers they say that camp posed to people both inside and outside the encampment, including finding propane tanks inside the encampment. Now, as for those students arrested and released, they will all be facing immediate suspension, although it's unclear at this point how long that suspension will last. Carlo and Marcella?
So, Rich, a lot of potential consequences here, but first and foremost, what kind of charges are most of the students who are arrested today facing?
Well, Carlo, from what we understand, most of them will be facing a charge of unlawful assembly. Now, that's a misdemeanor that carries with it a maximum of up to a year behind bars, although it's unlikely that these arrestees today will be facing any jail time. Now, we also understand that they were released today on their own recognizance. That means they did not have to post bond, but they will have to show up at their court hearings in the near future. Carlo and Marcella?
Richard Allen with the latest from the Central Jail downtown on students arrested on the UC San Diego campus. Thanks, Richard.